Hello everyone, my name is Imran Alan and I'll be reacting to the video 12 Things Not to Do in Japan on the Abroad in Japan channel. My good friend George from George Japan reacted to the video and it was interesting because we agreed on some of the topics but we had different views on some other topics, and as all know, culture is diverse, so I thought it might be interesting to add my side of the story because I have a peculiar background. I'm a half Pakistani, half Japanese double, born and raised in Japan, and I went to an international school here all my life from kindergarten to high school. And I guess that's as messy as it gets as far as cultural background is concerned, right? So anyway, I'm going to enjoy this and I hope you enjoy this too. All right, okay, so let's get started with the first part of the video.
So walking down the street whilst eating and drinking isn't illegal. You're not going to get shouted at and you're not going to get arrested by Ace Detective Sherlock Bones. But what you will get is the stare of disapproval. A lot of people don't know this one until you get here and never see anyone doing it. What you'll find is if someone wants to eat or drink something quickly outside, they'll buy at the convenience store and then eat it or drink it out the front.
That's true. You see a lot of people, a lot of Japanese people hanging out outside convenience stores, having their quick lunch, and sometimes dinner maybe, or snacks. But in fact, I've started seeing people walking and eating. It used to be virtually non-existent in Japan until a few years ago, but recently I see quite a few people doing it. But maybe not people my age. I'm 43, turning 44 next month. But a lot younger people, like 20s, maybe early 30s, I see them walking and eating. And personally, I don't really mind, but I just felt like, Japan is changing, the cultural, I don't know if it's evolution. I don't know what it is, it's just Japanese norm is definitely changing. And the one, I think it was 5 years ago, I saw this one lady coming out of the convenience store with an onigiri in her hand. And onigiri is a Japanese rice ball. And you know how Japanese convenience store rice balls, they're wrapped in this plastic wrapping. And she opens the wrapping to make the onigiri, all the while having her eyes on the road. And, no look onigiri making, right? And she starts eating it. In Japan, it's almost surreal. You never see that happening here. And I haven't seen that happen en masse, but it's happening. And I see people occasionally doing that. So I don't know. I just feel like Japan's changing a little, yeah? Okay, all right. Anyway, let's check out the next part of the video.
Same with vending machines. If they buy something from the vending machine, they'll drink it there and then next to the vending machine. The main reason is people are very conscious about keeping the streets clean here. And you don't want to ruin someone else's day by having them walk through your spilt coffee. That said, all you need to do to avoid the stare of disapproval is just stop and eat and drink whatever it is there and then. Maybe it's on a bench, maybe you're just standing at the side of the road, whatever. Just don't walk whilst eating and drinking and you'll be alright.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, a lot of people, they just stand outside convenience stores and drink their drinks. And but I'm not really sure if the reason people don't walk and eat is like because people don't want to litter the streets and don't want people walking through their litters. And I don't know, maybe it is, but from my perspective, I don't know, maybe that's. People are not that conscious. It's just there's a general understanding that it's bad manners to walk and eat, and I think that's that. But or they should at least stop and eat, even if they're on their way. Stop, eat, walk. Stop, eat, walk. I think that's the norm, the general understanding. Okay, but again, I'm not really sure. Maybe that is the reason why they started doing this. Started not really prohibiting, but seeing walking and eating as bad manners. Okay, but anyway, let's keep watching. This is pretty fun.
3 things to point out here. Number 1, never put your chopsticks upright into the rice, as this is part of a ritual conducted at funerals when offering rice to the spirits of the deceased.
That is something I didn't know until I think until I was in high school, and I've never been to a Japanese funeral, so I've never seen that scene, So I didn't know about this till probably high school. And I didn't really eat with chopsticks at home, outside until high school, I think. So I wasn't really good at using chopsticks anyway. And part as a joke, I stuck my chopsticks into my bowl of rice when I was eating with my Japanese friend. And my Japanese friend's like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? Don't do that, don't do that. And I was like, well, what's wrong with that? And he told me that resembles ritual at funerals. So I shouldn't do it. So I didn't know. I had been living in Japan all my life till then, but I didn't know. So I guess I'm not that familiar with Japanese culture. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on to the next topic.
Similarly, number 2, never pass things from chopstick to chopstick, because again, this is done during funerals to pass the bones of cremated relatives. So that kind of imagery doesn't go down well over dinner, as you'd expect. Probably best not to conjure up imagery surrounding death before you've even had your lunch.
Yeah, that again, same thing here. Around the same time, I start eating out with my non-international school friends, and I basically learned all this Japanese culture from them, because at home it's more of a Pakistani environment at home, so I learned my Japanese culture from my friends. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next part of the video.
Thirdly, don't do the rubbing of the chopsticks. When you open wooden chopsticks, you like to do that to get rid of the splinters, and just because it's fun. Everyone loves doing that, right? But don't do it in Japan because it's seen as rude to the owner, because you're basically saying, oh, your chopsticks are probably cheap, which, let's face it, they probably are. But in fact, they usually definitely are.
Yeah, I think Japanese chopsticks, the wooden chopsticks, are cheap. Yeah, but anyway, going like that with the chopsticks, I didn't know that going like that is kind of rude towards the owners. I've never heard that, so I don't know. But maybe I guess it's true. He did. I guess he did some research. He asked Japanese people about it, and yeah, I don't know Japanese culture that much. But anyway, I personally, I don't really do that because, like you said, there's these splinters in the on the chopsticks, and if I go like that, it feels like the splinters will go into my skin. So that's why I don't do it. But I've seen people stick their chopsticks into ocha, Japanese green tea, to give the soften the splinters, I guess, yeah, to smooth out the splinters. And I personally don't do that because it looks kind of weird, it's the same thing, but you have the cup with the ocha, and you're gonna drink it later. But why poke your chopsticks in them? The splinters might go into the ocha, and I might drink the splinters. So it just kind of feels really strange to me. So I've never done that actually. But anyway, there are people who do that, and they go like that too. But I guess it's okay. It's not that bad.
Probably the greatest thing about Japan ever, and the reason that I eat out several times a week, just because I save 20% automatically. In Japan, it's believed that customer service should always be exceptional, with staff giving 120% every time.
Yeah, I don't know if tipping would be seen as offensive, but there is basically no need to tip at hotels. But I've heard, I haven't done it, but I've heard that at some expensive ryokan, Japanese inns, you're supposed to tip 500 yen or 1,000 yen. I'm not really sure, but you're supposed to tip the maids for making your bed or bringing your food maybe to your room. And again, I've never done it. I've never been to an expensive ryokan, so I don't really know. Well, I did. I have been to one, but I wasn't really sure if I was supposed to tip or not. But even if you don't tip, it's not like they're going to be rude to you. So you're not going to miss out on anything. They're not going to leave your dessert out or anything. So it should be okay. It should be fine. And but maybe if you ask them in advance, I don't know if they're going to tell you. They might say, if they say it's up to you, that would probably mean that you should tip them. Or you don't have to, but it's probably better if you do. And if they just refuse, I guess they don't accept tips. So you might want to ask them, just to make sure, yeah. But I've never done it myself. So, but again, I didn't know a lot of Japanese culture until I saw this video myself. So I'm not the one to tell you what to do. So please check it out, Google it yourself, okay? But anyway, let's move on to the next part.
But it's not necessarily rude to tip someone, it just creates this awkward situation where the staff would feel like you're assessing their performance and they could potentially lose face. So you might think you're being nice by giving someone a tip, but you're not. You're just creating an uncomfortable situation for the worker and they'll probably just reject your tip outright.
Yeah, like I said, at regular restaurants, hotels, they basically don't accept tips. One day, I bought something at a department store, and the change was 1 yen, 1 yen, and I thought, I didn't have I think I just kept my change in my pocket, so I thought, 1 yen, another 1 yen, it's not gonna hurt me, but I thought I'll just leave it, because I didn't want to carry too many changes in my pocket. And I was like, oh, it's okay, please keep it. And I think I just came back from somewhere, the States or Pakistan. I don't really remember. And I don't know why I just said, please keep it. And the lady at the department was like, no. It's your change. I'm like, no, I know. So keep it. They're like, no. She followed me all the way to the elevator to return it. Because I kept saying, no, just keep it. But she said, no, this is yours. So I don't know if they, I guess they just don't know what to do with it, even if they get the tip. Well, they're not supposed to receive tips anyway, but I think she was confused. She didn't know what to do. So she came after me. Okay, but anyway, that's my side of the story. Okay, and let's go to the next one.
So don't be tempted to do it. There's a real emphasis on being mindful when you're using public transport in Japan that's often completely absent in many countries. Numerous of the times that I've been riding a train in the UK and someone nearby has been screaming at their partner down the phone and I felt like I was part of the argument, like some kind of unpleasant 4D experience.
Oh, that's a 4D experience. But anyway, that's true, yeah. I've had to occasionally answer phone calls on trains, and I always, pretend like I'm not talking on the phone. I'm just like looking at my phone, but I'm actually talking to it. And my lips move, of course, right? But I turn myself so people don't really see me. They don't really hear me. They probably do hear me. And I try to talk as quiet as possible. But I'm the guy. I'm so quiet that the guy on the other end, he's like, he can't hear me, so he's asking me to speak up. But there's no way I'm going to speak up, right? Because there are people around me. And when there are people standing around me, I would not answer phone calls. But if there are not that many people standing around me, I think I will, if it's an emergency, though. And because when you answer phone calls on trains in Japan, there's this split-second look. They don't stare at you. They just look at you for a split second. And their eyes, tell you that I'm supposed to feel guilty about it, and it's kind of scary, And it's not just one person; it's like half the people on the train in that car. So, yeah, it is a little embarrassing. It gets a little embarrassing, actually. Okay, all right. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Where is my... Okay, here it is.
Given Japan's density, it's especially important to be mindful when you're stuffed in the train alongside fellow commuters, many of whom are sleeping as well. With that in mind, don't ever talk on your phone on the train. That's a massive, no thing to do here. And even talking loudly is looked down upon. If you're on a local train or a subway train and you get a phone call, just ignore it until you get off. And if you're on a bullet train, you can go to the little compartment in between the carriages and take your call there.
Actually, the compartments in between the cars, they're so noisy. You can hardly hear the guy on the other end, so I don't really recommend it. But you can go there and then tell them, that tell the other person, the guy on the other end, that you're on the bullet train, so you'll get back to them in an hour or two, maybe. Yeah, and that you can't hear them on the train. If it's an emergency, right? Of course, obviously, if it's not an emergency, or if you can email the person, that's probably better. But anyway, that's my tip. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next one.
I remember for the first few years that I lived here, whenever someone handed me a business card, I was utterly terrified because until then, business cards to me had always just been a bit of paper or a bit of card with some writing on. But in Japan, they are so much more.
Oh, so true. Yeah. When you receive business cards, you're supposed to this whole culture around business cards. And when you receive business cards, you're supposed to study the content. The company name, the division, the person's name, his or her title, and the location of the office. And you're supposed to say something nice about the information. Wow, your office is in a very nice location. I've never been there. There must be a lot of nice restaurants in the area, or your family name is very rare. May I ask where your family comes from? Things like that. And I guess you're supposed to do that, and it's not, okay, all right, I'll call you kind of thing. It's this whole conversation, I don't know, etiquette around the business card thing. And you don't just, receive it and put it in your business card holder. There's this whole culture norm around this. And the delivering of the business cards and the receiving, is also kind of important. You're supposed to, when you receive it, you're supposed to go like that. You receive it between your thumb and your index finger, and then say 頂戴いたします。頂戴いたします. Yeah, which apparently is incorrect Japanese, which is so widespread that everyone uses it. And I've heard nothing else. That's the only thing I've heard, right? And by the way, 頂戴いたします means I humbly receive it. Yeah, so you're humbly receiving the other person's business cards. And it goes both ways, right? The other person says exactly the same thing. Yeah, and if you're, just one advice, if you're going to work in Japan, I highly recommend you to take like a business card training. When I started working in Japan, I got assigned to this department in my company where there were no graduates, no new graduates, right? Everyone had prior work experience, but I got a job there because a friend of mine was working there and he recommended me to the company. So thankfully I got the job. But I was fresh out of grad school with no freshman training at any company. So, and then I just started working. And I was supposed to do translation, basically at the very beginning. So the company thought I didn't need that kind of training anyway, so I didn't get it. And all goes well till my boss, who was out of the city, tells me to go visit a lawyer and have a meeting with him. So I go visit the lawyer, and I think he was my age, maybe a little older, but I could see that this guy, this lawyer, had all the manners in all the books downloaded into his mind. And I see him open his business card holder, so I get mine ready, but at that moment, I'm in utter confusion. I was planning to give mine first so I can study him and kind of imitate him, because I wasn't really sure how to do it. But he's all ready and he hands me his business card first. And I see this lawyer with his perfect etiquette handing me his business card, and I'm all confused, right? I don't even know what to say. 頂戴いたします, it's not in my vocabulary. And all in that moment, I lose it all. Instead of receiving his card between my thumb and my index finger like this, I do this. I do the crab grip, and even to me, this looks totally awkward, right? I have no idea what the correct style is, but I'm pretty sure this is, I totally screwed it up. Anyway, I'm in total embarrassment, and for the whole 2 hours of the meeting, I'm thinking, what the hell is this guy thinking? What the hell is this guy thinking about me? Does he think I'm like a silly guy, with no manners, at least amount of decency? And after the meeting, he sees me off to the elevators. And again, I'm not so sure what to do at the elevator hall. I'm not really familiar with the elevator manners. And am I supposed to get on first, wait for him to get on, but this is his office, right? So there's no reason for him to get on the elevator. But what if he does? So I'm all confused. I'm all tense and simulating, so many scenarios in my mind. Anyway, I get on. He doesn't. Okay, but he's doing the 90-degree bow. The ojigi, right? That's the bow, the Japanese bow. He goes 90-degree on me. I'm like, oh my god, the deepest live bow I've seen in my life, and I'm not sure what to do. Should I do a 90 myself? But what's the point, right? He can't see me. I won't be able to see him, so we won't know what's up. Should I at least should at least one of us see what's going on? And you can imagine the confusion, right? But I do the 90 anyway, and I see the door closing in the corner of my eyes, and I was sweating so much because I had no idea what I was doing at the very beginning and at the very end. And during the meeting, I'm thinking, he probably thinks I'm like a silly buffoon from the 19th century or something. And but anyway, it was a good experience. I could still laugh over it. And then I went back to my office and Googled the business card manners. And anyway, if you're doing business in Japan, you should definitely Google the manners, the business card dealings, and the elevator thing too. There's this whole culture around elevator riding too. It's kind of funny, but anyway, you should enjoy it. Okay, but anyway, let's move on to the next one, okay?
Once you've exchanged business cards, the trick is to imagine you've just been handed the lost treasure of El Salvador or something. First, study it meticulously, the name, the job position, the details, and then either put it in your business card holder or just put it on the desk if you're at a business meeting. Just put it on the table.
Yeah, and also when you put it on the table, you're supposed to put the business cards in the order of the seating, in the seating order. So if Mr. A is here, Mr. B is here, you're on the table. The business card should be put in the same order. Yeah, and don't ever stack the business cards on top of each other. That's supposed to be very bad manners, which I did not know. And I think I found out after I quit my job and started my own business. So till then, I had no idea. So I think I might have done it several times. But actually, I didn't meet my clients that often. So maybe I didn't. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, that was so embarrassing. I didn't know about it, And my friend, my acquaintance, and she had this business manner training thing. And I went to visit and I got everyone's business card. They're all friends, right? Her friends. And I knew one guy. He invited me. And so there are 5 people. They all know each other. I knew one person, and I got acquainted with the others, and I got all their business cards. And the seminar started. I just stacked their business cards on top of each other, and then that lady, she started saying, she started talking about the business card manners, and she says, never stack business cards on top of each other. I'm like, oh my god, okay. So I go like that, and but obviously, she saw me, right, and I said, sorry, I didn't know about it. Thank you for teaching me. And so, you should definitely get that training. It's interesting too. All these manners, Japanese manners, are kind of fun to learn. So you might enjoy. Yeah. But anyway, okay. All right. So let's move on to the next topic.
If you've got a runny nose, standard procedure here is just to keep sniffing, or just to find a toilet or a broom cupboard to hide in. Blowing noses in public is pretty rude.
Yes, it is. I have no idea why. Well, I think it's, first of all, if it's loud, I think that's the problem. It's loud. And if you blow your nose, other people kind of, I guess, imagine your snot. So that's kind of dirty, filthy, maybe. Yeah. But I didn't know this until I was in my 30s. Yeah, I was brought up in an international school environment, and no one ever told me. Everyone else is blowing their nose. I blew my nose in public everywhere I went. I had a minor nose problem, so I was always blowing my nose. And I think it was in my 30s. I finally, I don't remember how, but I finally figured out that I shouldn't. So, and ever since, whenever I blow my nose, I do it silently as possible. I do a no sound nose blowing, yeah, and I don't know. It sounds silent. It sounds pretty low volume to me, but to others, I'm not really sure. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, if you do, try to avoid making a loud sound. Okay? All right. So the next one.
Physical contact in Japan isn't really a thing. You'll bow a lot, you'll nod enthusiastically daily, but occasionally you might shake hands with someone if they're a good friend or a business client that you get on well with. But generally, I avoid it unless someone makes the first move. And hugging in particular doesn't go down well. It's just met with expressions of awkwardness and despair.
Yeah, so handshakes are not that common in Japan. Well, actually, they're basically non-existent. And then they bow instead, right? And now in this kind of age, with the pandemic and everything, bowing, I guess, is the better choice. Yeah, but even before that, yeah, handshakes were very very kind of special for Japanese people, and a big deal. Right? I have a rather big online following when it comes to learning English. I'm an English teacher here. I do YouTube videos. I have an app and everything. So, and I used to do seminars back when things were okay. And some students would come to me and ask for a favor. And I'm like, yeah, sure. No. And then they'll be like, is it okay to ask you to shake hands with me? And if you're not okay, it's okay. It's totally fine. And of course, I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they're so surprised. Like, really? It's okay? So shaking hands is such a big thing in Japan. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's like he said, he's correct in saying that physical contact is kind of a big thing, a big deal in Japan. And like hugging, right? Hugging is not a high. It's something more than a high. I don't know what it is. It's just so special. Even handshakes are, more than a high. They're, I guess, I don't know, an act of approval or something on the deepest level. So it's very, very special, yeah. And yeah, so every time I say yes to handshakes, the students are so happy. They're so surprised. Oh, more than happy, they're surprised that I would say, okay. Okay, so anyway, so that's how big handshakes are in Japan. Okay, all right, let's watch the next clip.
And also, amongst couples, public displays of affection are phenomenally rare here. So don't be surprised if you get the stare of disapproval if you're kissing your partner frantically in the street.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's like in the middle. I'm not sure about what it was like in the Middle Ages, but I guess for some people it feels like Middle Ages, yeah. Okay, but anyway, let's go on to the next one.
And I think that it should definitely be this. If you're the sort of person who feels the need to have a debate or an argument about things or throw your opinions out there constantly, people will find you obnoxious and dislikable and probably just avoid you.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah. But I think in every country or culture, people try and avoid conflict. They try to create harmony, right? But if there are differences, people try and share their opinions and try to reach a mutual understanding. But in Japan, I think people try to pretend like no one noticed the differences. And of course, not always, but I think it happens a lot. Definitely a lot. And there's a phrase in Japanese which says, which is なかったことにする, which translates to pretend like nothing happened. Yeah, so I think that happens a lot if the difference is not life-threatening, then I think, or if it's in business, if it's not like project threatening, I think they will pretend like nothing happened or they didn't notice the differences. And depending on the project or the work, the business, it becomes a problem later. But at that point, it saves face for everyone, right? So I think that's why they pretend like nothing happened. Yeah. So I guess in some situations it works well, and the person saves face. In other situations, maybe it might be a problem. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I totally agree with him. Okay, and the next topic is...
Embedded heavily within the culture is this idea of keeping harmony and avoiding conflict at all costs. And it's a lot easier to do that when people aren't at each other's throats, throwing around opinions. Sometimes it can be frustrating when people are just unwilling to speak their minds or give you a clear yes or no answer.
Yeah, so it's like, you need to know if it's a yes or a no, and they just wouldn't tell you. And I guess, like, you're going to have to decide yourself. I don't know what it is. It's really frustrating. They don't, even when you need an answer, they don't want to give it. They want the other person to kind of realize what they think. Yeah. So sometimes it gets really frustrating. But anyway, that's culture, right? It's kind of fun to get to know other cultures. So, okay, anyway, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered to film that one. Everyone seems to know this one already anyway. When visiting someone's house or entering a public building like a school or going to a hot spring, you take off your shoes and switch to slippers before you go in. The easiest way of knowing if you have to change your shoes is there'll be a change in elevation in the floor. So when you go in, there'll be a little stair, and that's when you know.
I see, interesting. I didn't really realize the elevation. Yeah, I think in Japan you just kind of notice. Well, actually, I always check if I'm supposed to take off my shoes or not. And but yeah, I didn't really think of the elevation. That's interesting. Okay, wait, no, let's keep.
This is the one thing on the list where failing to stick to the rules will have noticeable results. A few years ago, a friend and I visited a public bathhouse in Kyoto, and we went in, and you're supposed to take your shoes off. For some reason, he didn't. I don't know why. I don't think he noticed or saw. There was a little old woman sitting behind the entrance counter where you kind of pay, and when we walked in, she saw that he still had his shoes on, and she shot up with terrifying energy and ran over and grabbed him and took him to the front and was like, "Get your shoes off, get your shoes off."
He is not exaggerating. Yeah, I've seen this happen right in front of my eyes. So one day, I went to this okonomiyaki restaurant. It's okonomiyaki is a savory Japanese pancakes, and so we go in. I went with my friend. My friend goes in. I go in after him, and I noticed that there's an elevation. So, and also I know some slippers. So I knew I had to take my shoes off. My friend didn't notice. He went up. He put one foot on the elevation, and the staff, I think she was like in her early 20s. She comes running, and she's like, "No!" And I forgot what she said, but something like, "Take your shoes off" or whatever. And he pushes him. She pushes him, away from the elevation, and the guy lands on me. Yeah, and he just like went back like that, and I was behind him, so things were fine. But I was like, wow, you're that serious? I mean, there's like nothing there. There's no food or anything lying there. But she was, she wasn't furious. She was so surprised that anyone would attempt to come in with their shoes on. And I thought it wasn't a big deal, but I guess it was a big deal for her. And but that was so, for me, that was so weird. Yeah, and I think if I had gone in first, things might have been a little different. As in Japan, a lot of Japanese people, they a lot of foreigners and like halves, including doubles, including me, we get away with a lot of things because we don't look 100% Japanese, so they think, they don't know, so that's fine, right? So, but in this case, he was a Japanese guy, so I guess he couldn't get away with it. And I don't know what it is, but in those kind of situations, Japanese people give this stare. In that case, and she pushed him off, right? But they would give this stare. Didn't you notice? Kind of stare. So and you're supposed to feel guilty about it. So anyway, yeah, he's not exaggerating at all.
And that image has stayed burnt into my mind. This quiet little old woman suddenly becoming so alive and animated by this terrible event. And ever since then, I've never forgotten to take my shoes off when entering a building.
Yeah, it's probably best, if you're not sure, it's probably best to just ask the staff, should I take my shoes off, or can I come in with my shoes on? And I always do that if I don't notice. If there are no prior guests, then you should definitely check with the staff. Okay, and the next one.
For whatever reason, rubbish bins and trash cans are disturbingly rare in Japan. Outside of convenience stores, it can be a nightmare to find one. And the reason I put this on the list is because so many people, so many of you guys message me on Twitter saying, I'm in Tokyo and I can't find a bin, what should I do?
Really? Okay, I don't know. I might be exaggerating, or maybe not, I don't know. But it's true. Well, you know, in Tokyo, in central Tokyo, there's so many convenience stores. Every 200-300 meters, you'll find one. And there's usually a trash can at convenience stores, and you can throw away your trash there. But I think a lot of people, I definitely do, and I think a lot of people actually have plastic bags in their bags, just so that they can throw away their trash, even if they can't find. Well, not really throw away, but to keep aside their trash, even if they can't find a trash can, because you don't want to be holding on to your trash while walking, right? It's kind of annoying. So I always have 2 or 3 plastic bags in my bag, and if I can't find a trash can, I'll just put it in that and put it back in my bag till I find a trash can and throw away the whole thing. Okay, so your littering is definitely something I don't do. I don't litter. I never litter. Most people, 99% of the Japanese people don't litter, I think. Yeah, so if you come to Japan, you should definitely have a couple of plastic bags with you so that you can keep your trash in your bag. It kind of sounds weird, but we do it all the time. Okay, all right, next part.
I've wandered through Tokyo for up to 20 minutes sometimes just in search of a bin and can't find
possible.
one. The
That's
streets
possible,
though, despite that, are shockingly clean here because people, if they can't find a bin, they just take the rubbish home with them. It can feel like some kind of mini game sometimes, going in search of a bin, because when you do find a bin, you feel a real sense of achievement. But despite that, don't be tempted to litter. Just keep trying and you'll find a bin one day.
Okay, all right, let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry, I didn't notice. I've been speaking for over 30 minutes now, and I hope you guys are fine. You guys are okay. I hope you're not bored watching me talk about my experiences.
Seems like a fairly obvious addition to the list, and yet in the UK we just cross the street whenever the hell we want, whenever there's an opening in traffic, as opposed to waiting for the green light, same as many countries. In Japan, however, people do not cross the road on a red light. It's incredibly rare, and it's one of the greatest ways of seeing this sense of order and obedience to the law that exists in Japan.
Actually, if it's a short crossing, I think people just go, they cross it. So it kind of depends on the distance, right? Long ones, I think most people don't. And the short ones, some people do, but they have that guilty look. They have to have that guilty look, or they have to pretend like they're in a hurry. If you're in a hurry, it's kind of acceptable. So even if you're not in a hurry, you're trotting, walking a little fast, and to show the other people that you're in a hurry. That's why you're crossing the red light. But I guess it doesn't really happen at long crossings anyway. People will be like, there are no cars, and they'll be like this, looking to the left, to the right, and they're in a hurry, but they will not cross. And they will wait till there are no cars and the light is almost green. Yeah, so there's that. I don't know. It's just a kind of a culture thing. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
If you stand at a roadside in Japan and there's no cars coming, you can't see any cars whatsoever, people still will not cross the road until it goes green. Over the years of the many friends I've had come to visit me here, this is the thing that shocks them the most. The idea of not crossing the street when there's no visible cars there. The idea of abiding by a rule that doesn't seem necessary.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I think next was the last topic, the last issue.
And the last one, don't worry about not knowing anything about Japanese etiquette when you come to Japan. As I said earlier in this video, there aren't going to be any real consequences to not following any of these things, apart from maybe the footwear one. That's quite scary. You don't want to get dragged off by an old woman.
Yeah, I think I don't look 100% Japanese, right? So I've gotten away with not knowing Japanese culture all my life, basically. And for foreigners, definitely, they're not gonna. Like he said, there's that lady in my okonomiyaki restaurant, lady. But other than that, usually you get away with everything. Well, not everything, a lot of things. And they're not going to care that much because they know you don't know. So, it's not like they're going to arrest you or, call you names or anything like that. So, nothing to worry about so much. But the business card thing, definitely, if you know your manners and etiquettes, they will think highly of you, definitely think highly of you. So you should definitely study those before doing business in Japan. Okay, let's watch the last bit.
The reason I say don't worry too much is because I find a lot of people come here and they're very nervous and very anxious about following the etiquette they don't really comprehend. And that includes even me. When I came here, I didn't know anything. And I was constantly anxious and nervous that I was making mistakes. But really, as a foreigner in Japan, you get a kind of a free pass to make mistakes. People are understanding and they're kind and they will let you off. So don't become too nervous about following all the rules. Do your best, but don't become a nervous wreck.
Yeah. So, don't worry so much. But anyway, this was a very nice list, 12 things not to do in Japan. And of course, there are a lot more things that you should be careful of. I should be careful of too, but it's not a big deal. And these 12 things are very interesting, right? So there are a lot of more interesting things that you will experience once you're in Japan. Well, this great list, 12 things, and some of them I didn't really know till recently. So you can understand how profound Japanese culture is. And once you come to Japan, I think you'll experience a lot more. You'll see these 12 things definitely, but I think you'll probably see more and kind of feel, it's weird, but that's culture, right? We don't really know why we do things, but we do them anyway. So I think you'll enjoy. I enjoyed watching this video so much, and I talked so much. It's like over 40 minutes now, and I can still talk. There's so much more I wanted to share, but I was, I kept looking at the time on my cell phone, and I was like, oh my god, I should make this like 15-20 minutes max, but I couldn't. So so much I wanted to talk. Okay? That's why it's a good video, right? His video is really good because it made me want to talk more. And I'm not sure if George talked that much, but I enjoyed watching this. So many things, so many memories, good memories, fun memories came back. Yeah. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching. Oh, the first thank you was for I'm sorry, I don't know his name. The abroad in Japan person. Thank you very much. Great stuff, great video, great content. And I'll check out more of his videos and maybe react on them. Okay, but anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again, okay? Take care, guys. Bye.